Hello and welcome to Scarlet Serpent Readings. Thank you so much for joining me for today's pick a card. It's going to be a special pick a card on how your past lives are influencing you, specifically in your relationships. So I'm going to do a series of Akashic Record readings on how your past lives, karma, is influencing various aspects of your current life. And I'm also going to do a main Akashic Records reading at the very end. But for this reading, it's going to be all about, as I said, how those past lives are influencing your relationships, maybe past karma, past obstacles, the personality, the type of person that you were in the past, and just so you can get a little bit of insight as to recognizing certain patterns that stem from outside of this timeline. Just extremely brief and basic definition of the Akashic Records, which I might elaborate on later, but it's essentially, I want to say, like an organic, ethereal archive of your soul's experience through all of eternity, and we interact with it on a daily basis. Just by living our lives, we are connected to the Akashic Records. So in a lot of ways, karma has to do with the Akashic Records. Just certain patterns of how lucky we are can be influenced and by not only our karma, but by the interactions of our ancestors as well. And there's a lot you can do through the Akashic Records. You can actually heal past trauma, heal ancestral karma. But for the purposes of today's reading, we're going to be accessing it just to see who you were as a person in various relationships, and see what the karma is from that, and see how that's influencing today's relationship world for you. So we're going to have 3 piles for that. Pile 1 is going to be that's pile 1. Okay, pile 2. And pile 3. So if you need some more time to look at the different piles, or just tune into your intuition, or however you choose your decks, it's going to be perfect for you. But take your time on that. Otherwise, I will meet you at your pile. Hi, pile 1, if you chose this deck right here. And you know what? I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm just going to show you this card. This, I want to say, is kind of part of your reading. It was sliding out of the deck, so I'm going to actually leave this here. And I might reference it later, but we're going to find out how your past lives are influencing you now. Just take a sneak peek at the karma that was going on, the type of person that you were, specifically in relationships. And so I have 2 cards indicating who you were, 1 card indicating your karma, and then I'm going to draw some additional cards just to see how that's playing out in your current life. I haven't looked at these, so just remember that this is a general collective reading. If you want something personal, I have the information for that down in the description box. So let's see. So straight away, and I shouldn't hesitate to say what's on my mind, but I got a sense of royalty because of the Emperor, and that's confirmed with the King of Clubs. Distinctly masculine energy here. Very fiery. We have 2 fire signs as well, with the Emperor and the King of Clubs. You come across for me as a little rigid sometimes, especially in terms of relationships. So I don't want to say controlling, but you had a certain view as to how, yeah, the relationship should play out, the type of partner that your partner should be or should have been, I should say. There's a lot of passion, a lot of fire, and that fire could come across for whoever you were with. This isn't necessarily like dating relationships, but also with family as well, but could come across as controlling, as I said, but a lot of strength, a lot of energy. We have a dagger here. I don't know, this is interesting. A sword for what should be the King of Wands, yeah. So that's interesting. I would say it's interesting because could have come across that, yeah, you were carrying a weapon in terms of how you use your words. You might have spoken out of anger sometimes, and in a way you used your words to evoke power, to demonstrate your power. Again, this is past lives, and this isn't necessarily a way to say that you're a bad person or anything like that. This is more of just who you were, and we're gonna see how this is playing out now in your relationships. I'm just showing the Emperor again with the box showing rigidity. Highlighted by the bird. So you might have been connected to spirit, although I don't know if you were as aware of it at that time. And then the next card we have is the Seven of Cups. What I'm hearing is you might have had a lot of options as far as romance goes. But notice that the King of Wands is facing away from it. So I think your focus might have been more on career, more on I'm getting a strong sense of politics, so more focus on politics in the big picture. And while you had a lot of options as far as love life goes, raising a family, even within the family, there wasn't a lot of heart actually being poured into it. It was more. That was a bad slip up. Sorry. It was more cold and calculating, and really being that type of male figure who has things that he needs to get done, and cold, calculating, passionate. There's the creative energy, but I feel like that energy was put towards practical things. And again, this is a lot of male energy, so I wouldn't be surprised if you were a male in this lifetime. Either that or it was masculine, very overpowering energy, very controlling again. Let's see what your karma is with the Two of Wands. So, more fire. What I'm getting here is that you're given the option to change your ways from the type of person you used to be. It's kind of like this flip of perspective as to, like, now you might get the other side of that just to see what it was like. I'm going to draw an additional card for that. And I'll leave this Emperor here. And it's like you're compartmentalizing the love options as well, like thinking of it as a game of chess as opposed to people, instead of asking your heart center, what does this person connect to me on a deep level, on an emotional level? It was more like, okay, well, as a king, or you thought yourself to be a king, how is like the heir to the throne, like who am I bringing into the family, what is my legacy that I'm going to leave behind through this person. Very stern. Oh, and then we have the Six of Pentacles. I feel like this kind of confirms what I had mentioned before as far as being a little more focused on career, finance in the past, creating stability. This feels kind of, I don't know, it has a similar vibe to the Two of Wands here. So a lot of structure still, like you still have, like structure is following you, and that's going to remain an important part of your life. But in this case, it feels like what you've learned as far as being a rigid person, being a person with strong foundations, and who follows rules and sees the importance of organization. You are taking that into your relationships as well, and seeing how being balanced in that way could be more effective than like being balanced within yourself is where you could really set those that structure and then allow other people to be who they are. And that's something that I feel like you're learning now in your relationships. We're going to get confirmation now. I have 4 cards here. Just seeing if any of them stand out energetically. No, it's pretty neutral. Okay, so the first card I have is the Knight of Cups. It's a very strong transition, by the way, from cups, or the lack of cups for the most part. King of Wands, Emperor, fire energy. The first card that we see in this current lifetime is Knight of Cups. Wow. I'm glad I flipped that Emperor card. So we have the Knight of Cups. I'm just going to show this to you. A lot more gentle, nurturing. And I feel like this is you, by the way, not a potential partner. And then we have the Empress. So like I said, I mean, even the image, even the cards that I'm using, the imagery is very polarizing. Two completely different angles, two completely different art styles. So it's like polarity is, I mean, obviously being in this world is a very polarizing experience, but I think with this Six of Pentacles is saying more than anything is seeing the wholeness of both sides to yourself, really. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're in relationships that could have come up across as controlling, like your partner was controlling, or really just giving you that energy that you used to be in the past life. You have the Nine of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune for me is really showing how the tides are turning. Sorry about that technical issue, but really just getting a different perspective on what it's like to be on the other side of that, and forming. Yeah, structure has been important to you in both lifetimes. Structure not for the sake of, and it might have been that way before, where it was structure for the sake of being controlling, for the sake of having absolute authority over what's happening. But now structure for the importance of what it is to be in a solid foundation, so that you could build a home, build something big. That, because it's coming through a couple times here. We're going to clarify these. Actually, I want to start with that Nine of Pentacles. You don't have to worry that much. It just came through. So for the Empress, we have, I said for the Empress, and then the Empress shows up again. What's this? Yeah, right underneath the Empress as well. So a lot more nurturing energy, a lot more yeah, loving, free-flowing energy. That's what you're getting at here, especially in terms of relationships, that you're a lot more allowing, and to the point where you might be a little too giving, and that might have come from the fact that you weren't before, and you just wanted to get the other side of that. Oh, so in a past life, I had mentioned that the King is looking away from the cups. So, like, the consequence of being so structured is, I feel as though you're vastly successful and financially abundant and well respected, but it came at the cost at neglecting connections. And what you're feeling at this point is you're really connected and giving, and you're feeling the complete opposite part of that. But you're also kind of learning to not give too much, so that people take advantage, and there is a need to draw those lines. We have the 10 of Swords here underneath the 9 of Pentacles. It's also a sense of ending, being in a maze, in a sort of let's see the Wheel of Fortune. I lost my train of thought there. Death with the Wheel of Fortune. Strong sense of transitions here, because both of those cards are there, both the 10 of Swords and the Death card. I'm kind of taking this literally as you've gone through your reincarnations. It gives you the opportunity to change, as I said, your perspective, and to live a dream. When I say a dream, to live a dream is like to live this reality in the most balanced way you can. And you've had multiple times to kind of try that out, to try and see, like, if am I too rigid this time? Am I too much of the Emperor? Am I too much of the Empress this other time? And really, that's what it's been about, balancing these aspects of yourself. And if you've had a struggle in past relationships, it's really been about noticing the opposite energy that you're embodying at that moment with other people. So I would say just to be mindful of that, that's why that had happened. I feel like now, if you are in a relationship, there really isn't any like struggle or arguments, or, I mean, I guess from time to time, but this isn't a strenuous relationship. I don't feel like I'm talking about an ex here for the most part for this pile. And then we have the 5 of Swords. I got confused there because it kind of looked like a wand. 5 of Swords. For me, this is confirmation that you've in past relationships felt tied down, very tied down. So it's kind of like the opposite, as I said. This image is perfect for it. You could be seductive, but really what I'm getting is free, comfortable in who you are, and you don't like to be tamed in any way at this point, in any way. And that's kind of like, I'm getting that sense with the Nine of Cups as well, of like very free-flowing, and that's something you have to learn with the Ten of Swords, is the importance of structure again, but you knew that from a past life. I think as you've stepped into balance of yourself, that's when you got this Wheel of Fortune energy. So I feel as though you're kind of already in a relationship, or at least heading towards that. You learned how to work luck. And with the karma, again, it's like a strong sense of choosing not just people, like options like that, but whenever you make a choice, is it heart-centered, or is it kind of motivated by structure, or structure? Yeah, is it motivated by just doing what has been, what always has been, for the sake of consistency, or are you willing to try something new? And the more you've been willing to try new things within relationships, but also follow your gut and trust that feeling, it's led you to better and better partners. I feel like you might have had a few relationships with both of these cards here. Some have ended. I was going to say cycle through friendships as well. So there have been people in and out of your life as you've learned to balance yourself. Be the Empress in its fullest, but also know when to draw those boundaries, know when someone's overstepping, and when someone's deliberately trying to control you because they can't control themselves. And that's really just a reflection of the person that you used to be. Let's just get an oracle card. Just a broad message of this whole situation, this whole bringing together your past life and current life. Kundalini, very interesting. Untapped energy. This is kind of reflecting some of that sexual energy that you can get from the Empress as well. So I would consider doing yoga, allowing that energy to flow through you. And it's interesting that we're getting this card. I feel as though if you haven't accessed this energy, it could be an indication of needing more balance within yourself. But that's the big thing here, is a strong sense of identifying with, acknowledging, healing the masculine energy in a balanced way, and then doing the same for the feminine energy. And I feel like that's what's going to bring this Kundalini, have it rising, so you could really get into your creative mode. Let's get one more card. Action, motivation needed. Or does that say movement? It says movement. Maybe that's how you can get your Kundalini to rise. I feel like a part of this relationship cycle is about tapping into an even deeper part of yourself that you've yet to unlock. A more unified you, a more whole you, and you're getting closer to it through other people, through who they are, and seeing like, how am I reacting to these friendships? How am I reacting to these relationships? I'm trying to see if there's anything else. It kind of looks like the Empress is holding one of the balls, the spheres. She isn't. It's a pomegranate, I think. But you make these decisions with ease now. Like, there's no second guessing yourself, because you're really connected to your heart center. And that's going to lead you to new creation and new freedom, which is what you're all about, really. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. It was fairly quick. Akashic Records. I'm going to be uploading more Akashic Record readings in the future. I'm going to stagger them a little bit, though. I'll probably do like a violet flame reading, maybe one more relationship, and so forth. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe, like if you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the future. Take care. Hi Pile 2, if you chose this deck right here, we're going to get into your Akashic Record reading. How are your past lives influencing your relationships? I have 2 cards indicating who you were as a person in a past lives or multiple past lives, and then 1 card showing your karma. These are face down, and then we'll get into the main part of the reading. So, who are you in a past life? We have the Knight of Diamonds, the Knight of Pentacles. I'm going to take a look at another card, and then we'll get into it. The Hierophant. Similar vibes to Pile 1. I mean, this does tend to happen with these readings, like a general theme of structure, movement, but a very strong sense of, excuse me. So you might be, I might have been a religious person, like followed a religion. I don't know if you find, I mean, this is general, of course, if you want a personal reading description, but if you find the Ace of Cups, religious structure to be almost triggering, that would be an indication that you are definitely an influencer as far as religion goes. Yeah, I'm getting a sense of being tied to a religious structure, for sure, with the Knight of Diamonds. What you were moving toward and what your priority was if not religion, it was towards some sort of school or education or structure along those lines, but really an established entity. And I feel as though you were a representative of that structure. We do have like the pyramid eye in there. I don't know if you could see it. It's interesting how we're not getting a lot of relationship energy from this reading so far, as far as who you were in the past. I'm gonna get another card for the Ace of Cups. Or I feel as though you became someone who was a little more emotionally centered as you got older. There's this 7 of Pentacles, learning how to balance yourself, but there's like a sense of, I don't know, maybe you were a legal representative, you worked as a lawyer, and I feel as though your decision that you made, that made you a little more giving later on. So there's a lot of Pentacles. Taurus is coming in multiple times. You might have been a Taurus in that lifetime, or you still might have Taurus placements on your chart now. That could be a confirmation. But steady moving, very by the book. You're a very honest person. You're a very honest person in the past, who was focused on doing the right thing constantly. Let's see what your karma is. Ten of Pentacles. So it's like you put in so much work in a past life that you have the potential to express abundance, not just have it, but share it with others. And I feel as though, as we're tying this to a relationship, those were principles that were very important to you in the past. Having a set of rules within the family, religious upbringing for your past life family, honest and open communication within the relationships and family, and then equal give and take, I should say. It's interesting that it's the moon in Taurus. It was like even your shadow side was decent, honest. I feel as though you're aware of the different aspects of who you were as a person and came to terms with it. Very, very balanced in the past. And was willing to work towards big projects, big goals that you might not even have been able to finish. For some reason, I feel like you didn't quite, at least in one of these past lives, you didn't quite attain the goal. And that's kind of why this is carrying over to this lifetime, where you might have seen yourself as having an advantage somehow. But you've already put in a lot of work in the past, and you were very honest to doing it. So I feel as though that is probably reflected in your relationships now. But we'll see. How are your past lives influencing your current relationship? Maybe you like horses. Maybe you like the sound of horses, like that. I know I like it. I don't know, I'm not feeling these right now. So I have one card here, face down. We're gonna see. It's rigid though, right? The cards aren't popping up like they usually do. Very strong. I'm just going to take 3 cards. Okay. We have the 9 of Swords. It's like coming to terms with your shadow again. And kind of finding the practicality. You're very logical, and I feel as though maybe in this lifetime you're trying to figure out why things weren't balanced or fair within a relationship, or within friendships, and that might have caused distress because you have always been a very honest person, very fair, giving, and you might have wondered, okay, so at a subconscious level, of course, when people weren't honest with you in a relationship, especially friendships, family, you took it fairly personally, and it didn't make sense to you. It was almost like you had to do something about it. And 3 of Wands. For some reason, this kind of echoes what I just said about there's the cloud in the middle. I'm tying it to the Hierophant again. Being patient. So it's like in the background, even if some of your early relationships and friendships were not what you thought they should be. You're a very patient person as well, and I think that has to do with, there's a strong faith that you carry with you, and that's kind of what I'm getting, is that you knew it would change eventually, and so you just were in a relationship, and then you weren't, and then you were. The same thing with people. It's like some people just come into your life for a little bit, they go away. You're like, well, this person doesn't matter anymore anyway, and you weren't too tied down to it. You see the value in passing people, like relationships and friendships and even family that come and go, and you're fairly steady within yourself. So there's that transition in mindset as you step more into your past self. And then we have the Two of Wands. So choosing between these two energies. Choosing between, are you going to allow yourself to worry, have someone have that kind of influence on your energy, on your vibration, or are you going to just wait it out? Not just wait it out, but just accept what is. And I think that comes from both the Knight of Diamonds as well, the Knight of Pentacles, because very patient, deliberate, slow-moving towards the end goal, which in your case, the end goal is happiness and abundance, and you're very patient in terms of allowing that to unfold before you. A lot less work on your part in terms of relationship, as much as it is observation of the other person. We have the King of Swords, and then the Eight of Cups. So I made reference to cloudy mind, and I feel as though that's a mastery that you've developed in terms of relationships. As like, how are you? What is your mind saying about this person that you're with? Are you being responsible with your thoughts? Are you being fair, knowing that these people have their own set of circumstances, upbringings, influences? Very similar imagery, very narrow in their stature. And then we have the Eight of Cups. You've been willing to move away from people and situations that weren't aligned with you as far as what you had to offer. Again, if things didn't seem balanced, you weren't afraid to leave. And it's like you hold yourself in high regard, and as you should. I feel as though this is leading you, if not already, towards finally not just a relationship, but a friendship, a family that has a lot to celebrate, that you could share in the fullest way with them, you know. There's a lot of solitude here, actually. I keep showing this Hierophant. I don't know. There's a lot of solitude here, and you're comfortable with it. It's almost like this could be a journey of the self, as far as accepting or denying different energies that are worthy of your time and presence. And you found that most people aren't, and you could still celebrate your own company with even more money, because you don't have to share it with anyone. That might not be, of course, the case, but I think through that celebration of the self, you have, or you are attracting partnerships that are really good for you, and that you could truly be open with, and who are fair and balanced within themselves. And that's just a reflection. That's kind of like what you're bringing in. Yeah, that's why I keep picking it up, because the energy is actually really strong with this. This is like your main card, the Hierophant. Faith, organization, fairness, wisdom, lots of wisdom here within your energy, and that's something that's carried you through various relationships. You're not someone who could be crossed. You might have had a few, as I said, encounters where people weren't honest, and you're just like, at first you took it personally, and then later on you just decided to cut these people off and say, you know what, no, I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm not going to tolerate people crossing my boundaries, because I know I'm a decent person who's fair. And then we have clarity, go within. I think you represent clarity here. This is who you represent. And that's why you're so stern, and you place a high value on yourself. And because you know who you are on the deepest of levels, anything that doesn't have that sense of purity isn't welcome. And you've been willing to wait. That's the biggest thing. There's so much patience here. You've been willing to wait for that perfect relationship, that perfect friendship, even work environment. You're like, okay, this isn't gonna work. I'm gonna go elsewhere, because there is movement. Like, you're willing to actually. Sorry, the audio cut off a couple times, but what I was saying is that you were actually willing and able to move away from people and circumstances that didn't feel fair and as pure as you are. And I think your patience is really what is going to allow the abundance to flow to you in the fullest way possible. That is something that you deserve. In multiple lifetimes. Yeah, and the Hierophant fell again, so just really you might want to meditate on the Hierophant, but it's really your energy and someone you embody quite fully. So enjoy the abundance if you've received it, and if you haven't, just look forward to it and know that patience and hard work and slow, steady movement towards what you perceived to be, I'm just showing this because it's here, reminds me of you, but it's worth the wait. It's going to be worth the wait. And the best part is that you're going to have people who are going to appreciate what you've built within yourself, and that's going to be manifest physically. So I hope you found this reading helpful. This is part 1 of a series of Akashic Record readings. If you're interested, you can subscribe. If you have already subscribed, thank you. You're awesome. And I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Or you seeing me soon. Okay, take care. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose this deck here, this is going to be your reading of the how your past lives are influencing your relationships specifically. Okay, so we're gonna see who you were in a past life, the type of person that you were, and what your karma is, and then we're going to look into how this is playing out in your current life. So we have the 8 of Pentacles. So we have Virgo coming through here. Very positive card. I think this is the Sun in Virgo. I don't know, but very balanced. A strong sense of balance here, but also knowing that what you put in, you get back physically. So there's a strong sense of a recognition of what it takes to manifest in this reality. And I feel as though it's interesting how many pentacles are in this reading for a relationship. I think stability has been really important. Having a structure within the relationships, within family, friends, but also the importance of having a place for them. That might have been something that's, I think, through all the readings in retrospect, have had to kind of navigate in the past. Is like what we have today is a complete luxury. We have houses and air conditioning and Wi-Fi and all this, but none of that obviously was the case in the past, depending on how far back you go. And that's something that you understood, is that even the basic structures needed a solid foundation, and that can be said in a relationship. So you're willing to recognize the amount of work that you put into a relationship is going to be reflected back in just how deep and intimate that connection could become, how it could manifest. Let's see what your karma is. I keep saying karma, or I don't know. We have the Four of Cups. For some reason, I get celebration here. It's not really the traditional Four of Cups. At least that's not what I'm seeing here. But it's very mellow. Very mellow Four of Cups. Is that that same structure that you recognized physically through the material world is something that you're recognizing, or that you acknowledged and that you're receiving, have the potential to receive in this lifetime, is fair, steady, quiet relationships. And we're going to find out how that's going in this current life, but that's what the karma indicates, is I just get like a soft presentation of, like, here you don't get overly excited, you don't get swayed too much. I think part of the reason for that is that you knew in a past life, is like when you exert a lot of energy, you get that energy back, and it could be a bit overwhelming at the same time. If you don't give enough energy, nothing's going to get done. So it's like an abstract we have the Knight of Pentacles. Stability and structure have been coming through all of these piles. What I'm getting here is having the patience with people. I had mentioned too much energy, that you can get and give too much energy, so you're cognizant of how much you give and receive. Slow and steady wins the race. So you might have been that sort of person who wanted to take things slow in relationships, and there might have been maybe a partner or even friends that came in with just all guns blazing, kind of just, let's move in together tomorrow. And that could have overwhelmed you, because that completely goes against your energy, not only in this lifetime, but past lives as well. We have the Page of Pentacles. Double Earth energy here. Earth is all over the place. Very structurally sound, but mostly stable and grounded in this reality, and in very balanced in terms of both of these knights are facing forward. I feel as though this pile has already found they are in a relationship, they are partnered. Then we have this is in reverse, the Five of Cups in reverse. We're going to clarify that. But Oh, it's interesting that these triangles are faced the same way. I don't know if you can see the triangles. Distinctly masculine energy here. In, not that you're male, obviously, but I mean, like, taking control of responsibility in terms of how events play out before you, how circumstances play out, like, because masculine energy is generally like the creative force, the energy that takes action to manifest the creation. And what I feel that you've recognized is that this moment is caused by a collection of thoughts and vibrations that you put out, and you become more aware of that and responsible. And it's like you're reaching for the cups now. Instead of losing them, you're reaching for them. Do you see that? Page of Swords. Yeah, I think that's confirmation as to the mindset. I think that with the thoughts, how they manifest themselves into the emotion. So it's like the types of partners you've been able to attract and manifest changed as your thought process changed over time. And this has always been very balanced and meticulous in past lives, and now that even it just feels very like your past life selves feels very, there's no rush. If you put this much here, it's going to come out the other way. And we kind of have this echo of the Knight of Pentacles and Page of Swords with the stripes in the background. So it's like move slow, think slow, and you'll have more control of this physical 3D reality. It's like slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Let's clarify these cards. Page of Cups, lots of page energy. So I think you might have gone into relationships as one person and come out a different person multiple times. So you've been changed a lot through relationships. But not the core of what is you, not at a soul level. Just, it's like subtle shifts in mindset specifically. You have the Two of Swords underneath the Ten of Wands. So yeah, but for me, this is like cutting off people who are exhausting, friendship-wise, relationship-wise. Being a bit more firm with your boundaries over time, recognizing that people will try and overstep. Not just with words, but energetically speaking. Some people just move too fast, and you're a slower person. There's no rush for you. And like if you're going on a walk to the park, and your partner just wants to walk around, just get into the loop, finish the trail, and then you'd be one to just kind of look at the clouds and the ground and birds and pause. Like you just want to pause somewhere to breathe in that air. And I feel like maybe some of your past partners weren't about it, and you decided that that wasn't going to work. We have the Seven of Swords. Interesting that it's underneath the Page of Pentacles. And then we have the Nine of Coins. It was in reverse. So what I'm getting here is that this is less, you've transitioned into being more concerned about yourself and people falling in line with your type of person, the type of energy that you give off, and you've been more aware of how you could move together as a unit and be complementary with that person. It's like you've been willing to let go. You've been willing to let go and sacrifice a lot, actually, for past relationships. And I think that's changed, that you're not as willing to become someone completely different just to get someone mildly attractive to like you. And the same thing with friendships. It was never worth it. And I think that's what this is about. It's like, at one point you might have lied to yourself, or you've been around people who lied about who they are at a very deep level. And I think I feel as though you found someone already who isn't that way, and it's very fresh to you. And if you haven't, that's coming. I do get a sense of that. This person coming towards you, it's like she's being drawn to the light. Again, gender isn't relevant. It's just like that imagery, maybe that energy, but someone who is giving as well, and not just taking energy, asking for too much. Willing to give back what you give them. Just confirmation that you've been much better at drawing boundaries from people who were exhausting, from people who just demanded a lot. I feel like maybe there was someone who took money from you, took finances from you, and tried to convince you that it was for love. I think by being true to yourself, you're able to realize that. There's a lot of mental energy, mental contemplation, very grounded. It is like logical thinking that brought you to a conclusion that people aren't always going to be what they say they are. It's kind of interesting because you've become even more balanced than you already were in the past, because this was your past self, and then this was your karma. Let's get an oracle card. So how your past self has really been able to detect when things aren't balanced in relationships. It's pretty straightforward. Authentic self. Look at that. This is the most important thing to you. Staying in line with that truth of who you are. Cutting people off who aren't that. And really recognizing when people are being deceitful. And that's a skill that you've developed over time. Kind of like trimming the fat from just people who are all show and don't have any substance, don't follow their own truth. Because if they can't be honest to themselves about themselves, then they're definitely not going to do that to somebody else. If you're not in a relationship already, I feel as though that's something that you're attracting, but I do feel like most of the people in this pile have actually found someone who is being authentic, and you're just enjoying that. This was your karma. very calm, peaceful, non-competitive, stable, loving energy. So I hope this reading was helpful. It's part 1 of a series of Akashic Records readings. If you're interested in that, you could subscribe in the description. Personal readings are in the description. You could subscribe wherever the button is. I don't know. And hopefully you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.